Here we go for qualifying practice number 2 here at Spa of round number 6 of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And we are going to be in dry conditions just like we started qualifying 1, although on that occasion the rain would fall very, very quickly. It looks like it might just stay dry for this second qualifying session. This is going to set the grid for the race later on. We will go live for that at 15 minutes past 7 local time here in Belgium. So this is crucial for the race today, and with dry conditions it's going to be a little bit different to what we saw earlier, where heavy rain fell and Gregor Sorsi took pole position by just over a tenth of a second from his teammate Gabriele Mini. David Vidales took a very impressive 3rd place. Hadrian David was 4th. Zane Maloney was up in 5th. Kaz Havercourt continuing his good form with 6th place. Then we had Paul Aron in 7th. Franco Colapinto was 8th. Elias Sepinen with his best qualifying of the season in 9th place. And then we had the wildcard entry just here for this round. And this one only, Dexter Patterson finished in 10th place on his very first attempt at a qualifying session in this championship, and his very first weekend driving this car as well. None of them are going to be waiting around. They're going to be getting straight out onto the circuit. So they're going to queue up at the end of the pit lane. But if you did miss what happened earlier, let's bring you back in time and show you exactly how things went down. So when we got the qualifying session underway, there you can see they were on slick tyres. There was very, very light rain falling, so it was a race to get round to the finish line and get a lap in. And leading the way was Patrick Pasma there in the 5. He switched over to ART. David Vidales, I don't know if that was taking a shortcut or just a genuine mistake, but either or, they were trying to get a good position, ready to go for their first flies. However, in the race to get round, we had a spin from Axel Noss, but we had an even bigger incident, sadly, from Oliver Girth, and that would put him out of the session. MP Motorsport very disappointed with that one. All the cars would then come in. We did have a full course yellow, which turned into a red flag, so everyone was back into the pit lane. And by the time they got there, as you can see, the umbrellas were up. The rain had picked up in its intensity, and we switched over to the wet tyres. It's the first time they've been out on wet tyres all weekend. We've had 3 practice sessions so far, all taking place in the dry. So it was left down to the drivers to try and adapt as quickly as possible in pushing to try and get a good time in. Some made mistakes. There was one that we caught from Franco Colapinto. There were lap times being deleted. David Vidales seemed to get a hold of things very quickly, and as did Zane Maloney. But at the front, it would be Gregor Sorsi in the 26 who would take pole position. And that was Gregor Sorsi's 8th pole position of the season. And there we have the green flag. And I went and spoke to him earlier. He was very, very happy. It's his 8th pole, like I said, of the season so far. He seemed very relaxed about things. He finished on the podium here last year. That was in wet conditions as well, where he drove through from 14th on the grid to take 3rd in that race. That race was won by Alex Quinn, and that's another person that I did speak to when I spoke to the Arden team. Sadly for them, they just didn't really get the setup right, and did struggle with Alex. As did a lot of teams. You are having to take gambles on which setups to go on. They didn't really know which setups to go on. The drivers didn't really know which lines they were taking at times, and it was really just a race to see who was going to adapt the quickest. And like we can see here, it's a race once again to get round. They have had 3 practice sessions in these conditions though, so this should be a little bit easier. However, we are a bit later in the day. The track is going to be slightly green. It hasn't been dry for a particularly long time, and we have 33 of them out there as well. If you weren't able to join us earlier, we do have some driver swaps to tell you about. I did mention Patrick Pasma has gone across to ART from KIC. Yasin Ferrati has taken his spot at KIC Motorsport, switching over from Monolite. Yasin Ferrati's seat at Monolite has been filled by Dexter Patterson, and we also welcome to the championship Ido Cohen as well, who will be in with JD Motorsport. No Thomas Ten Brink, of course, we won't be seeing him again, he's decided to step away from the sport entirely. Brad Benavides also is not going to be with us for this round, unfortunately, as well. Well, cars going round. One thing they spoke to me a little bit about earlier, the drivers, was getting a tow. Very, very crucial. Some will decide, I'm sure, to work with their teammates. They can see the ART drivers have got themselves all together out front. The RHGP and Prema drivers seem to have mixed themselves together. But getting a tow down that Camel Straight is going to be crucial. Usually we do see 2, 3, sometimes even 4 warm-up laps before we really get going in terms of lap times. But of course, being a much bigger lap than what we're used to, 7 kilometers in total is the Spa circuit. That might be a little bit shorter distance, but it looks like a race start out there, doesn't it? It looks like we're on a warm-up lap getting ready to go racing. We're not going to be seeing any real flying laps on this one. This is going to be another lap of just getting the tyres up to temperature, bringing the cars up to temperature as well. And next time round, we will probably see the drivers spacing themselves out and going for it. Now, it's showing Mini, Pasma and Saucy in the pit lane, but I do not believe that is the case. We did see those 3 out front, and that has readjusted itself now as the drivers make their way down the start-finish straight. In fact, they may have come in and back out again, the 3 ART drivers, because we don't see them on screen. So that might have been a quick in and out to adjust some pressures, maybe adjust something to the front wing. Nevertheless, Hadrian David is now the one leading the way as we make our way round down towards the hairpin through Bruxelles. So far taking their time, the RSGP drivers out front so far. There you can see the 3 Prema drivers. So earlier we had David Vidales put in a very good time to put himself 3rd place. Paul Aron was in 7th place, and then behind that we had Dino Beganovic down in 23rd place. One driver who did very well was Elias Seppänen. There's one of his teammates coming through shot, the number 58 of Elias Seppänen, who we have labelled the hard charger of the championship. Well, I'd say the hard charger, if we're going to give that title to anyone, it would probably be Hadrian David, but over a consistent amount of time, Elias Seppänen always seems to gain plenty of places. And one thing we've talked about over the last couple of rounds is Elias just needs to get his qualifying nailed. And I spoke to KIC Motorsport about this last time. They said he's getting better and better, and it seems over those 5 weeks he's really made a step forward. And Elias has put himself into the top 10. That's for the race tomorrow, though. This qualifying's for the race today. There we can see Gregor Saucy just getting himself back into position. The 3 ART drivers have found themselves all together again, despite that short trip through the pit lane, but it is getting very congested. I can see Franco Colapinto there in the orange and blue colours trying to get through. Look at this, we've got Alex Quinn in the all red there trying to get a place. He's got one of the KIC drivers coming around the outside of him now as well. That's Seppänen, and then behind that I think is Oliver Gerth as well. The 17 of Dino Beganovic pulls up to have a think about a look down the inside of Franco Colapinto. In terms of lap times, 2:15s is a good time. 2:14 is the quickest that we've seen so far this weekend. If you can get yourself into the 2:15s, it's going to be looking very good. That's a bad place to slow down going into Eau Rouge and up Radion. One of the MP Motorsport drivers, I think that may have been Colapinto, and that caught out a few drivers, but that's a sign that Franco has bailed out of that lap completely, and I don't think he'll be the only one as he comes up towards Les Combes now. Won here last year, as I mentioned earlier, along with Alex Quinn. Dudu Barrichello currently leads the way, but we are a good 5 seconds off what we are going to, good 5-6 seconds off what we can expect in terms of lap times. Vidales seems to have found himself a little bit of space here. David Vidales, who currently sits in 9th in the championship. You'll remember he won the very first race of the season from pole position at Imola. Since then, his form tailed off. He went to Barcelona, his home race, with huge hopes and DNF'd on both occasions. It was a real shame to see, and he's just struggled to get his form back. Prema, as a team, went through a phase of just struggling slightly, but the 19-year-old is now starting to come back into form here. He finished in the top 10 here last year with the Formula Renault Euro Cup. I think the mid-season break has done him a world of good, and he looks just like he did at the start of the season now as he makes his way up towards Blanchimont. Let's see what time he does. We've got a good few drivers out there really pushing. Hadrian David is the quickest out on track on this lap, so we'll keep an eye out for the number 10. He's looking very quick out there, chasing his first pole position of the season, and there he goes, 2:16.8. That's a good banker lap to put in. Isaac Hadjar, his teammate, goes second. Maloney goes third. Vidales has gone fourth. Then it's Beganovic in sixth place. Aron is next along. Then we have Barrichello behind that in seventh place. He's yet to come across the line to set his third flyer. So a lot of drivers didn't really put in the didn't really go for it on that laps, but certainly the Prema drivers and the RHGP drivers did. Gabriele Mini has come up to fourth place. Mari Boyer has gone up to fifth place as well. So saw Mari before the qualifying session looking very confident. Earlier, Mari Boyer, just looking down at the times, he qualified in 12th place. So good session for him. He sits 11th in the championship, and last time out, Mari Boyer managed to get 2 top 10 finishes, so kept up some good consistency. Good time from Axel Noss as well. He got himself up into 8th place there. He's got a best result this season so far of 14th place, putting himself inside the top 10 for the first time. Pietro Deligoanti, someone who has been inside the top 10, he's just gone to 8th place. Been in the top 10 in terms of qualifying, but not in terms of a race yet. Best result of 11th this season for Deligoanti. Okay, are we going to see times coming down? Well, the driver who was quickest overall throughout the 3 practice sessions, Michael Belov, has just gone quickest. He managed to save his earlier qualifying practice session by getting 11th place right at the flag, and Michael Belov has put himself to the top. It could be a real battle between he and Saucy. That's what we saw throughout the practice sessions, and a little bit of a moment there for Saucy, but he managed to gather things together. Gabriele Mini, of anyone, is going quickest on this lap. Looking down the time, Saucy's actually going slower, I think helped by the fact that he had that moment at Pouhon, as he now makes his way down towards campus. And Gregor Saucy just needs to try and find a couple of tenths through the second and third sectors of this lap. But a lot of people out there improving. Vidales, Beganovic improving, Maloney's improving, David is improving as well. Isaac Hadjar comes across the line and he goes to third place. So he's put himself right towards the top. Dino Beganovic is up to fifth place. We've had Zane Maloney come up to fourth place. More changes further back. Kaz Havercourt has come up to 10th. Elias Sepinen has gone up to 13th place. Oliver Gerfer has got himself up into 11th place as well. Of anyone, he's the one that needs a good result the most, because he's going to start dead last tomorrow. Alex Quinn has gone up into 12th place as well. We're seeing changes all the time here. Pasma's up to 9th place. So good job from Patrick Pasma. We watched on screen there Gregor Saucy make his way across the line, but currently not where we would expect him to be. I think he might have had a lap time deleted, because he's being shown down the field so far. So Gregor Saucy is going to try and go again. You run out of laps really quickly around this circuit, so we have, so far, with just under 10 minutes to go, Belov, David, Hadjar, the top rookie, then it's Maloney, Aron, Beganovic, Vidales, Alatalo, Colapinto, Pasma. That is your top 10. Pasma made a mistake in the earlier qualifying session. That put him in 13th place. Without that, he reckoned he could have been inside the top 5, but Saucy currently being shown down in dead last, and 29th place even, so needs to get a move on this lap. Are we seeing any more changes? Cohen is currently running in 13th place. Just trying to see where Dexter Patterson is, because he went well, very well in the earlier session, but it doesn't look like he's within the top 30 positions so far. Let's see how he goes in the dry conditions. Of course, the young 17-year-old hasn't driven this car before this weekend, and it's going to be a lot more physically demanding in the dry conditions than it is in the wet conditions. We're following Mari Boyer, who's improving on this lap. We've seen good performances from Mari Boyer throughout this season, the best of them being when he finished 5th on home soil at Barcelona, but this is one of the several tracks that he hasn't been to. There comes the 15 of Bula, and behind her is Mari Boyer as he makes his way through Blanchimont and down towards the chicane now. Also out there improving is Belov. Maloney is improving as well, as is Colapinto. He's definitely going to be one to watch. He's gone green through both sectors, and Colapinto goes to 7th. Can Boyer get himself into the top 10? He's been delayed here by Bula coming out of the final corner. He heads up to the line now, and he's not going to improve in time. So he'll have to go again, as we see coming across the line now, Nico Gola, but Nico Gola has managed to get himself into 25th. Francesco Pizzi is into the top 20. Quinn is up to 11th place. Looking at the sectors, I don't think we've got anyone else out there significantly improving. Belov did go quicker through the first sector, but he didn't go any quicker through the second, as Paul Aron has just gone purple through the first sector. So Paul Aron, quickest of anyone through the first sector. We'll keep an eye on the Mercedes junior driver, the number 1 car. Dino Begnovic, his teammate, also going quicker as well. This is a good session so far for the Prema team. 2 cars right inside the top 10 as Michael Belov comes across the line, and that's a 2:16.2. Just 2/10 slower than what we saw from him last time round to put him on provisional pole position. Saucy, looking down the order, is currently going quicker on this lap. He did a 39.7. He was actually, looks like he might have been quickest of anyone potentially. Certainly was far off if he wasn't quickest, but he's definitely on a flyer. But we're going to follow Paul Aron here, who started to get his form back at the last round after a long dip in form. He took a 4th and a 7th at Zandvoort, and after a break to recharge the batteries, let's see if Paul Aron can come here and get in a good weekend. He qualified 7th earlier. What can he do in this session as they make their way down towards Blanchimont? There goes Seppänen and Goethe through our picture. Here is Saucy. I'll keep an eye on the time of Paul Aron as he makes his way through the final few corners, but he's not gone quicker through the second sector. Running wide there is Gabriele Mini as he makes his way down towards Blanchimont now. In the background is Gregor, in the foreground it is Gregor Saucy, and I think he might have been delayed through that second sector. Colapinto has done a personal best, but he'll stay 7th. Aron did not improve as he went across the line. A lot of drivers have hit a bit of a wall in this session now. Let's see what Gregor Saucy does as he comes up to the line. He needs to get himself up the field somewhere, and he's going to be in 28th. That's what he's currently being displayed as, but I have to question why he's so far down the order. He's done a 2:19.0. He's down in 30th now. He's done a 2:19.045. You've got to remember, this is the guy who's taken 8 pole positions this year, Gregor Saucy. So what's going on in that car? He's taken 6 race wins, 3 on the bounce. Last time that happened, I've mentioned it a couple of times already, last time he took a hat-trick of wins, he took no points at the next round. And he's 4/10 slower through the first sector. Got to say, this is 4/10 up. I think that might be on his personal best, but I don't think he's quicker than what we've seen so far. He's done a 39.7, which is very quick. Up the order, his teammate Pasma has done a 39.8 through the first sector, and that's his quickest. Kaz Havercourt looks to be improving. Pizzi is up to 20th. Andrea Rosso is up to 21st, but we're going to stick with Gregor Saucy here because he needs to get himself up the order. I mean, from a neutral point of view, seeing the championship leader starting down in 30th place would be very exciting, wouldn't it? He's going to get held up here, I think, by Nico Gola in the number 2. And Nico Gola currently running down in 27th place. Is he carrying a problem, I wonder, in that car? Because we were very congested in the early stages of this session. Let's find out what he does through the next sector. 101.8, and that's about a second slower than what we saw from Hadrian David. Let's follow him up to the line. I mean, he's looking on track to definitely get into the top 20, I'd say. He's got a good toe up towards Blanchimont, but he's going to be delayed through here now. He's going to struggle through there, being that close to Nico Gola. He's going to have to go outside of Gola. This is your championship leader, a person who leads the championship by 64 points, and he's delayed into the chicane. Oh dear, that was Francesco Pizzi cutting across there to start his lap. And Gregor Sorsi is going to come up to the line, and he's only going to go 21st, and he's only going to have this and one more lap, and he's going to be delayed going on to this lap, and he's going to have Francesco Pizzi to deal with as he gets towards the end of the straight. I'll keep an eye on the times for you, but I'm glad we're staying with this one because that's going to be a very interesting one to follow. Michael Belov, however, is going quicker, and he's got a tow here from Pietro Deligoanti as he makes his way up towards Blanchimont now. Michael Belov, could he be on to take his first pole? He was a late entry into the championship. He joined us at Paul Ricard, where he was a wild card, so didn't score any points. He took 2 podiums there. Then he took a 9th place. He didn't sadly start the second race at Zandvoort due to a mechanical problem. Up to the line. Can he extend his gap out front as he comes up to the line? Yes is the answer, 2:15.7. Behind him, though, is a Frenchman, Adrien David, who desperately wants a pole position. Fellow Frenchman Isaac Hadjar would love to start from the front as well. He's currently in 3rd place, and he's going quicker on this lap in that number 6 car. So here is Adrien David, I believe, coming into our picture now. Goes past his teammate Zane Maloney. Gregor Sorsi, by the way, is going slower on this lap, and considerably slower as well. I'll keep an eye on that as we progress through. David Vidales is going quicker on this lap, but Isaac Hadjar is going even quicker as he now makes his way through the quick right-hander and down towards Blanchimont we go. He's got Paul Aron to chase ahead of him. This is a really good lap from Isaac Hadjar. He's just over 6/10 off of Michael Belov. I'm worried for him though, because it seems Aron ahead of him is slowing down. So hopefully for Isaac Hadjar, that's not going to be a problem. He's slower through the second sector, but not by much at all as he comes up to the chicane, and I think he's just about going to be okay. He gets a bit of understeer through the right. That's going to compromise him through the left, but he's going to have a tow from Aron up to the line. What does he do when he crosses the line? He gets himself onto the front row of the grid, 2:16.216, but immediately he's shown down in 3rd again. Is that a lap time deleted? We'll find out. Where's Gregor Sorsi? He's going slower on this lap. He's been across the line already, I feel, and he might be on what is going to be his last lap. There he is, just went through our picture. The number 26 is getting really congested out there. Drivers really struggling to find any space on a 7-kilometer circuit. That's quite surprising, isn't it? Alatalo somewhere out there is improving. He's just come across the line now, but he stays in 9th place. Upper Rouge and Radion, they go. Coming into the picture here as the checkered flag is now flying is Franco Colapinto. There's Gregor Sorsi through the haze. We can see him making his way down towards Les Combes, and Gregor Sorsi has to find something special on this lap, but he's got so much traffic ahead of him. He's done a 40.032. That's about half a second off what he has been doing. And down towards the hairpin he comes. This is really disappointing from Gregor Sorsi. But how exciting is it going to be to see him on the next lap? I've got to say, William Alatalo must have had a mighty tow down the Campbell Straight, because he's gone quickest of anyone in the number 8 Arden car. So William Alatalo absolutely flying. Isaac Hadjar in the number 6 is improving. Franco Colapinto improving as well. But Gregor Sorsi, we saw him again getting very loose through Pouhon. Not too sure if it's gambled on a setup. He might even be carrying damage. Who knows as he makes his way now through the right and into the left. Gregor Sorsi, what does he do through the second sector? We'll pick that up in just a second. Deligoanti has crossed the line in the meantime. He's going to be 17th at best. Dexter Patterson is going to be 21st at best. And Sorsi, he's, oh dear, has he just gone off the circuit? I'm hearing Gregor Sorsi is off the circuit somewhere as he's trying to improve on his final lap. We've got Isaac Hadjar slowing to our left there, and I believe Gregor Sorsi has run wide, and that is his lap completely destroyed. So Gregor Sorsi is going to start this one at best 22nd on the grid. He's got drivers behind him slightly improving as well, and Andrea Rosso is one of them. He's come into the chicane now. This is our championship leader, our driver who has 8 pole positions and 6 wins. He's going to come up to the line, and for race 1, which takes place in about 2 hours time, he is going to be no higher than 22nd on the grid. What a disappointment. Where's Isaac Hadjar? He's up to the line now. Does he improve? No. William Alatalo's the one to watch out for in the number 8. He's coming. That's not him coming out of the chicane. That's Tommy Smith. That's his teammate going into pit lane. We wait for William Alatalo now, the Finnish driver, currently in 9th place, but he could get a big improvement. He'll be probably in this queue of cars coming towards the line now. William Alatalo's in the pit, so he's bailed the lap. So Michael Belov takes pole position then. We have another new pole sitter in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. A first pole position for Michael Belov and a first for G4 Racing. Absolutely delighted with that one. And Michael Belov will start from the head of the field with Hadrian David alongside him. 2 rookies will be on row 2, Isaac Hadjar and Dino Beganovic. Let's go back and find out what happened to Gregor Sorsi. Here we go then. And Gregor Sorsi gets it wrong, just carries too much speed, and off onto the gravel he goes. That was down at Stavolo, and that was lap ruined. He's going to start down in 24th place on the grid. Can you believe it? Well, that was a hectic one, wasn't it? Michael Belov, in all of that, qualified on pole by over half a second from Hadrian David. The 2 rookies, Isaac Hadjar and Dino Beganovic, will make up row number 2. Zane Maloney and Paul Aron will make up row 3. Franco Colapinto and David Vidal is row 4. And then it will be an all-finished row 5 with Alatalo and Pasma. Quinn just outside of the top 10. He needed that after a disappointing session earlier. Mini has gone from being on the front row for tomorrow's race to the 6th row for today's race. Murray Boyer and Ido Cohen on his first weekend will be 14th. Oliver Gerfer, that's a good result for the rookie in 15th. Likewise, Dudu Barrichello, very good result from the Brazilian driver, 16th. Then it was Deligoanti, Rosso, Sepinen, Bortoletto, Kaz Havicor, Dexter Patterson, the wildcard 22nd, Fluxa, and yes, Gregor Sorsi in 24th place. From pole to 24th in the space of about 6 hours. Pitsy's 25th, then it was Smith, Bardignon, Pesce, Marinangeli, Nos, Gola, Ferrati, and Bula will round out the field. Well, the race is due to start at 15 minutes past 7. So join us in at 15 minutes past 7 local time here in Belgium for race number 1 of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, round 6, where our championship leader will be starting from 24th on the grid. You do not want to miss it.